playing some Kona. I haven't played Kona in months. Time to play some. Oh my.
Sought information for a living. That is to say that ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had always been. The client pays, Carl gets it done.
Oh.
They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it.
Holy shit, we're doing 40 down here. Feels like we're doing about 60 or 70.
When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway.
Now let's see if I can remember everything that I need to get.
The Polaroid, Carl's long-standing and faithful ally, had seen its share of husbands caught red-handed cheating. There's always something out there waiting to be snapped away. Emperor Duplessis, in spite of his conservative agenda, did a good job in colonizing the rural north, which helped to re-establish the region as an integral part of the province of Quebec. The blue fleur-de-lis could be seen fluttering in the wind here and there, taunting the red Canadian flags on the other side of the province's boundaries.
I can't remember if there's anything in here that I need. Nope.
Hamilton never mentioned a road-blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it.
Carl, turn off the truck.
There was no point in waiting any longer. Carl had to figure this one out by himself. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy.
Holy shit!
Others had aging who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him. Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself. Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care. The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. It was a small, locked box engraved with the letters W.H. Carl thought about taking it. Nothing was to be left to chance. This deep in the country, his last... hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on him. Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold. Carl, like many of his contemporaries, felt like he had more trouble breathing when he wasn't smoking. Cigarette was his own personal breathing assistant.
I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
Spread out on a few acres of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting snow, and undefiled lakes, the Manistan region was no tourist hub. It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry. The truck was running on fumes. Good thing that the general store was close by.
Oh shit, that's a little too far. Fuck. I can't drive for shit in this game.
Something fell to the bottom of the box. Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer. He had been killed. There was no need to be a detective to figure that out. But only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close, that the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized. According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though. Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see. Maintaining his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas.
I need to put this in.
Was it about bears? Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one. The murder weapon. What was that doing there, Carl wondered. Hamilton must have been determined to keep some information secret to post this key. Shame he got unlucky. Everything made sense now. Poor Hamilton's denunciation was interrupted, and he figured it would be best to lock everything up and send the key to his correspondent, who would receive the box later on. Clever, but not enough. That's what happens to ordinary people playing spy. The crowbar was stuck under the lift. Notwithstanding Carl's imposing stature, car lifting wasn't part of his skill set yet.
Alright, let's do this.
At long last, the crowbar was within Carl's grasp. Surely it would come in handy at some point.
Buddy, this is fucking northern Quebec. The beer is never gonna be warm here. Wait, I think I'm gonna do the first one.
Carl knew straight away where to find the infuriated Gilles Lachance. Any good investigation would have to start there.
I'm not going 100%. Don't give a
Carl
fuck.
felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out. Carl wondered what the hell could that thing be. It looked like a man fossilized in ice. All of a sudden, Carl felt like he was pulled inside a world of dreams, a cold, unknown dimension. Somehow, self-control was slipping from his grasp. To all appearances, this was a hunting log. Better yet, a war diary. What could these engraved numbers
739.
mean? A fresh path suddenly appeared before Carl. Carl had that feeling you get when you immerse your frozen hands in hot water. What happened? Now at least he knew who the unfortunate man petrified in ice was. Gilles Lachance, the general store's manager himself.
Okay, somehow I got lost and didn't pass the body, but it's okay. I'm coming up on his house now. I might make another coffee in a minute. Might as well grab the magnet, make a magnet, thing.
The air was freezing, right down to the bone. Looks like the holes in that puzzle are there to stay. What a mess. Clearly, there was some major revamping work underway here. The place looked barely habitable. The otherworldly ice had struck again. The woman's hopes and dreams were frozen in eternity. Something was hidden under the stairs. The man grabbed his rifle. Carl felt a sense of dread in him. guess their spousal relationship had been cooling down lately. It seemed like secrecy was commonplace in this house. The vision's veil was lifted, and he was back to reality. A reality in which Giselle, Jill's loving spouse, was motionless, frozen in ice. Ah, moving. What a pleasant activity. Of course, you'll find the record player only to find the records weeks later in some random box. Carl had seen that kind of safe before. With its double-layered security system blending letters and numbers, its code couldn't be broken by the common burglar.
I think I need to go to the Blake residence. Then I could go to the... yeah, I don't think I need the Wodards to finish the game, but I do need to go to the Blake residence because I do want to go to the woodlots. I do want to examine it. At least a little bit. Check what's new. Dude, I can't wait for like the second part of this game. I know it's been 4 years. All hope is lost. But this is such a good game. I mean, yeah, it's super niche, but... I don't know if I want to fucking...
Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first. The store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out.
Dude, what the fuck am I missing from the store?
A wintry atmosphere surrounded the house. The soundlessness
Oh
of the
god, I
area
hate this
suggested
one.
it was empty.
Okay, I gotta find some
Which
cigarettes.
seemed to be meant for a padlock, bore an inscription reading K2. A company name. Better keep an eye open. Businesses weren't exactly numerous around these parts.
Cigarettes. Fuck, no, drugs, never mind. Dude, drugs are useless, we need cigarettes.
A pay stub for some undoubtedly harsh lumberjack work. Alexandre Blais felled trees and chopped woods for Cloutier et Fils.
Les monstres. Off. Hando Volfi. Did I magnet this? Yes, I did.
What could it be for? The garden shed? Carl couldn't reach it with his arm alone.
Fuck, I
But
guess
he
I...
had more than a few tricks up his sleeve to pick it up.
Couple of fire starters. I definitely should go for the fucking flare gun. The flare gun is really fun. Oh, I've got enough matches, okay. Guess we're going to the side of the map. I played this, I think it was over the summer. I played it live over the summer. And I had a lot of fun playing it again.
And its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out.
I'm gonna raid the fucking store now in a minute, boys. I just realized I never even looked at Hamilton's body. Where the fuck is it? Oh shit. Okay, well it's in the woodlots. I guess I'm gonna do... Okay, I knew it had something to do with Martin Bly, or Martin Bly, or Blas, or whatever the fuck. Something to do with Martin's blouse. But I couldn't remember if Marie gave it to Martin or Martin gave it to Marie. But I guess now we know. I don't know if I should go get the other coat. Well, the other coat, the big coat. Or if I should stay with this. It's just... It's like fucking Newfoundland, man. We don't go to the fucking ace. We fucking raid your shed first.
A true Catholic always strives to keep lowly temptations at bay.
Small
Obviously,
key.
Carl thought, someone in this house wasn't doing a good job at upholding the Holy Bible's teachings.
Oh, you know the bottle. I have one on me. Hatchet. Fuck, I thought that was a hatchet. Dude, now I'm curious. What does the small key do?
What was even the point of locking your door if everyone hid their key in the same place? Carl was starting to feel like his investigator life lacked challenge. The house smelled like incense, the kind that reminds you of the good Lord, of peace. Carl smiled at the sight of the nicely protected garden. Hopefully, the Bedards had managed to dig every last potato out before the sudden snowfall. The family's mother must have spent her days washing the filth off her kids' diapers. The Bedards had vacated the premises. Carl gathered they would be of no help. Shame that the family had bailed. Carl would have had a few questions for Jean-Luc, a close friend of Hamilton's.
Okay, I need Google. Okay, well, it's supposed to unlock a diary, which I think I got to 2 of them.
Religion was very influential throughout Quebec many years ago. Indeed, it was surprising that Carl did not come across a single chapel since arriving here. Dream catchers originated from First Nations legends. They were used to trap nightmares. The perfect cookie-cutter Catholic family, most likely attending church every Sunday.
Alright, seeing as I'm already down here, I might as well go to the other house. Then I'm going after the woodlots. At least we got some banger tunes on the go now.
It was a classic Canadian house, except for the absent horde of kids that would normally be swarming about.
Shit, man, I got a lot of cigarettes. I don't think I've run into a single hammer yet.
what could be inside that envelope? Carl was taken aback. He knew this address. It was said to be the address of the P.O. box for the Canadian Secret Service. Carl felt a chill down his spine and had a terrifying realization. If Hamilton was dead, then who was going to pay him?
Go home, Carl. Okay, I think that's all the clues here at the general store.
Carl was beginning to know the store and its surroundings like the back of his head. The secret, that's all.
Can't remember if there's anything in here. Duct tape. Duct tape is always good.
An axe, not too shabby. Carl felt he needed to protect himself. It was a typical shack, just like the ones you hear about in Quebecois legends. Local lumberjacks used it to rest and twice a day eat up their pea soup. The leftover food, the clothes, the general warmth of the place, no evidence of escape. Carl was sure of it. People were here not long ago, and they expected to come back. Welcome to Ali Baba's Cave, Lumberjack Edition. Surely Carl would find something worth his time in here.
Okay, let's take a look at that document. Okay, let's go to
Someone had been playing with a crossbow here. A very dangerous game. A bolt could hit someone's tire or their eye. It could even kill someone if the aim was right. Without a single window to brighten things up, the inside of the cabin was almost pitch black. Beware of close encounters of knee and furniture. Solitaire, a card game only hermits can truly enjoy. Carl felt depressed at the thought of playing this. Everything was set up for a well-deserved snack. It seemed like the place hadn't been empty for long, but without knowing exactly why, Carl had the feeling no one was coming back anytime soon.
Okay. I mean, X does mark the spot. What's up the back of the other one? Creepy ass giraffe. I might go get the other coat. I love how like 30 minutes ago I said I wasn't gonna go ahead and get this. But that changed. Okay, that's up the path, which is ideally where I actually want to go next. Oh shit.
The track was fresh. That meant the car sunk down just a little while ago. Now where the hell could the passengers possibly have gone? The crossbow bolts had the same origin. Carl was sure of it. Who was it? And more importantly, what was being hunted like this? It would appear that Manistan's electricity supply was, quite literally, hanging by a thread. If that post was to come crashing down, the town would be plunged into darkness. There was only void where the road should be. Carl hated dead endings. He felt trapped. It was as if the road had drowned in the lake. He would have to find help by another route.
Alright, fuck it, let's
Carl
do
knew
these.
why he was suddenly shivering. He was going back to the realm of visions. Carl had no issue recognizing the spirit-like figures, but he couldn't figure out what they wanted from him. The phantom, freed of reality's shackles, vanished in the forest. Earlier, Carl had witnessed a tragedy that befell it. Another phantom disappeared in the wilderness. Carl had seen what happened to it too. The further Carl moved away from the ice block, the more his senses came back to him.
Carl, you can really use a cigarette, my dude. I said a cigarette, not drugs. No need you getting high right now.
Someone must have dropped this in a hurry, but whoever did was heading into the woods. Carl's tracking instincts were quickly kicking in.
Fuck it. I'll get the other coat because I'm freezing too fast. Let's go to the doctors.
In spite of Dr. Beaupre's goodwill, the place didn't look much like a physician's office. It could easily be mistaken for a sewing shop. There should be a law forbidding doctors from falling sick. A chamber pot. Fortunately for Carl, inspecting it wouldn't further this particular investigation. A communist manifesto. Only a few years ago, this type of allegiance meant prison time. And even at present, the Western world was very wary of the Soviet threat. Why would the doctor own such a book? There was no doubt that the doctor and Hamilton knew each other very well. The good doctor, flanked by his beautiful spouse. Pure happiness, captured on cardstock. Carl recognized this woman's soulful eyes. Was it Dr. Beaupre who had hit him head-on at the village border? Nobody kills a rich patient to start a revolution. It didn't make any sense. He had to dig deeper still to understand. Luckily, that was Carl Faubert's specialty. Carl felt like he knew the doctor now. His belongings had spoken lengths about him. But what Carl had heard worried him. The place looked more like a pigsty than a house. A heavy stench of curdled milk, cheap alcohol, and boiled cauliflower filled the air.
Led Zeppelin!
Back then, in Africa and elsewhere, people were ready to take up arms to stand against the yoke of English imperialism. In Montreal, mailboxes were blown up, abductions were carried out, and violent manifestos were distributed to media outlets. But around here, in the great northernmost, all a man could do is curse out loud against a faraway evil and pray for the revolution to arise. That man, by any reckoning, was from that very stock. Today, Jean Blouin. Seems like that pig had a name after all. The rag reeked of fermented vomit. Carl wondered how one could bear to live in such gross and horrid conditions. Carl held in his hand some awful sugar alcohol, but rather than drink it, he told himself it could be useful. He only had to be wary.
Actually thinking about it. Let's get the fucking skidoo. Okay.
By following the plan, Carl was led to believe that the snowmobile's parts had to be scattered about in the vicinity. Another worrisome victim of this ice, this one seemingly petrified in action. The poor man, before being frozen solid, seemed to have been defending the entrance to his cabin. But from what? The very first steps of man on the moon were made more than a year ago. The event had surely captivated the mechanic's mind for him to still keep this around. An indisputable fact that machines like this entailed a level of intellectual finesse that Carl was lacking. Carl hadn't lived up to his good finder reputation. He still hadn't found any of the wealth contained in Lamotte's lands. Something very important must have been in there for the man to take such time and effort to hide it. But Carl didn't know how to reach it.
I know how.
Carl had no idea how to interpret a message like that. On the surface, it seemed like he had one half too many of them. this puzzle. Enough to know he shouldn't take this testimony as gospel. The entire thing being some punishment for a murder committed by Hamilton seemed like an outlandish theory. Carl was doubtful.
Come on, Wolfie. I can't believe that the stream might not even take 2 hours. The original plan was 2 hours. I've only been here for 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Carl
Fuck
never thought
you.
he would be dancing with the wolves.
Right, I probably should have a fucking med kit. And a cigarette. And some painkillers. A med kit, cigarettes, and painkillers. God, I'm healthy.
The blood and the shape of the hole in the ground left no room for doubt. Someone had been buried here. Someone whose life had been taken with blunt force. Where was the body now? Why had it been buried, only to be dug up later? Carl felt as though he was shrouded in fog.
Okay, let's get the key, get the generator, build a skidoo, get out. Go to Rosaire, get the other coat, leave. Get the flare gun.
That large antenna in the middle of the path, undoubtedly ideal in attempting to communicate with little green men, was quite awkwardly placed. There had to be a lever to control it, maybe behind it. Carl would have to figure out how to reach it. The electric terminals appeared to be linked together, but for what purpose? Open sesame. So that's where the generator key was hiding. All that was left was to use it. At last, so big an effort for an oh so tiny piece of metal.
I think Carl's feet are too cold for them to turn to ice, man. Or for them to burn, sorry. Yes, he's too cold to turn to ice. My fucking throat. Some fucking head cold bullshit again. A bit of gas, a new spark plug, and the key, and this thing would run perfectly. All he needed to do now was to find all that. Let's go. Why don't you stay here? The mechanic was still frozen, and Carl had everything he needed.
so he felt ready to leave.
Okay. Yes, drive like the boys from Canada love. Yeah.
Ça rôde dans ce bout-là. J'ai ma carabine au bout du doigt, et puis bang, 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 si ça s'approche. Si tu veux du linge chaud, parce que t'es habillé comme un gars de la ville, je dirais pas non à une bonne bouteille de caribou. Puis tu pigeras ce que tu voudras parmi mes guenilles. Ah, quand on cherche, on trouve. Parce que je t'aime bien, à cette heure, je vais te dire quelque chose. Tu fais bien de prendre ma pénis. Parce que par là-bas, tu vas rencontrer le vrai froid. Un froid qui glace comme t'en as jamais connu dans ta vie.
I'm just gonna pause the game for a second while this fixes itself. I'm just gonna collect the document I'm looking at.
Gomme-moi la belle rose de la tulipe, qui se donne au yob sur le mercredi des cendres. Tu pas effrayant, ce soir-là. Touche pas à ça, l'enfant, tu pourrais te faire mal. Ben oui, une couche. Tu peux-tu tout faire en même temps, toi? Hé, la Corriveau, Batèche, ça te passe l'envie de te marier, la Corriveau. Elle tuait tous ses maris, squick, les uns après les autres. Pas de pitié dans le mariage. C'est encore beau. Tout ce qui est vieilli est bien meilleur. Mon beau bonnet du beau temps. Puis ma ceinture, où ce que je glissais mon flasque. Le monde tournait plus rond quand on s'habillait tout de même. Cadeau, ça ouvre la bandite. Prends-la, je m'en fous. Perds ton temps dans mes déchets, tout se rapporte du caribou.
Actually, I don't need anything from his shed. Let's go to the woodlots. Because I'm not going underneath the map or into the mine.
What mattered most, and the old man's coat made sure of that. However, Carl still felt that he would miss out on precious knowledge if he left this place.
Is there a document in this shed that I'm missing? Because, like, if so, I should definitely go back. No. Oh my god, it's starting to get cold. I just realized I have a shitload more documents now. check my battery while I'm in the loading screen. Yeah, right this way. Okay, at the back of the general store. Just go back to Skidoo and go. Actually, I could just take the Skidoo up here, right? Okay, so get right around here. gotta know if I'm looking at this right. I am. Okay. Okay, let's go down to his truck. Let's go back here. So I think I should go back to the fucking screw. BRB.
If he was to venture deep into the woods, carrying a flare gun definitely wouldn't hurt, Carl assumed. At best, he could probably scare some beasts off. At worst, he was in for a nice little firework.
Vois-tu le livre, là? C'est le Wendigo. Ouais, le Wendigo. Un guerrier qui devient un loup pour se venger de sa grosse peine. Et...
Cabin had been very generous to Carl. He couldn't have asked for more. Luckily, he had the coat to protect him from the biting cold. The cold seemed to be more brutal here than anywhere else. It seeped into bones and into every breath to get to the heart until it stopped. It seemed as though Régin had been ready to take up arms and slay people like Hamilton. Could he have committed murder for his cause? Who could have gotten killed in front of his very eyes? Carl suddenly felt observed. He was worried about a presence around him.
Wait, am I out of ammo? Am I out of fucking ammo? Oh my fucking god, I think I'm out of ammo. Okay, okay, we can fix this. Let's just pop a shitload of pills. Holy shit. I almost died to a fucking ice wolf. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. Oh my fucking god. Okay.
No stone can withstand the force of... third phantom gently faded away. Carl noticed that as the cursed villagers finally left reality, he could feel a sense of unburdening exuding from them in an almost intimate way. last phantom, lost in solitude up until now, joined the others in the forest's darkness, free at last to enjoy an eternal, well-deserved slumber. Carl was only beginning to understand the horror which had struck this village. He understood that the dead were piling up and that he couldn't help them by himself. The road was clear for him. He needed to push further north, and fast, to find help. Another diary. Carl felt like someone was trying to communicate with him. Or was it simply the result of happenstance? Carl was becoming increasingly convinced that this was not normal hunting. The game that was being tracked was fearsome. So much so that the hunter didn't dare approach it. What could it be?
Wendigo.
Carl had found what he was looking for. He needed to get back on the road. Carl reckoned that the place was still inhabited less than 24 hours ago. His detective sense tingled, revealing to him, or was it the strong smell of wilderness in the air, that there were most likely 2 men. The jacket was still soaking wet. The poor man had, surely unwillingly, had a taste of the pond's water not too long ago. According to the pay stub, that poor man was Alexandre Blais.
Right, well, because I haven't been in the warmth in a little while. Oh. I love how it's like, oh, stress is like a little bit down, smoke a cigarette, no problems, no problems.
busted down violently, and a burnt smell filled the air. Half of the cabin had been consumed by flames. Carl surveyed the chaotic scene, noticing that someone appeared to have intended to use the furniture as bonfire fuel. Carl had no idea how such a mess could have occurred, but he knew it didn't bode well. Seems like this place was long deserted. Just one more move for black to checkmate white.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm still on track to be better than my last run anyways, no matter how, even if I die. I think I'm at a better pace now. I was at, what, 220 heading into this, death run?
Two more victims of this ice plague. Carl felt a chill down his spine. What if he was next? Carl felt the strong pull of a vision overcome him. A young woman. It looked like a simple hunting accident. There was Hamilton. Carl recognized him. A major hunting accident. The doctor examined the young woman. But death couldn't be overturned. She was dead. 'Twas not the type of body you buried in a big ceremony in the village graveyard.
Back off, bro.
It had to be hidden. No one could know about this. The best way to do that was to have a simple-minded man bury the poor girl. Lamotte, the mechanic.
Let's see how much of the speedrun I remember.
The doctor denied the unfair death of the young woman, but Hamilton had him in his grips. Hamilton knew all of the poet's secrets and wouldn't hesitate to reveal them. I know all about your crimes, you little communist. You know mine. What a sordid affair. Understood the ins and outs of the affair. A woman had been killed in an unfair accident, and a young warrior had damned himself to avenge her.
And this is where Carl fucks up.
But Hamilton, the one responsible, had already been killed, and so the beast could not quench its thirst for vengeance. And now, recklessly, Carl had pulled the bolt from the beast's heart. A beast who was but a young free man lost without his fiancée, and who had, out of hatred, become Wendigo.
Do I not have this loaded yet? There's virtually no point. Dude, no amount of pill popping is gonna save you anymore, Carl. Oh yeah, I'm still on track to be better than my last run. Oh yeah, dude, you're right behind me. Fuck off. Here, Carl, do you want a medkit? Maybe some beer. I'm just gonna keep smoking, man. Just keep smoking. Deflecting bullet looking motherfucker. Bitch. I'm running and I'm huffing. I'm almost dead.
The narrow passage sheltered him, but for how long?
Smoking to save my fucking life. So, like, Carl's gotta be what, like 6'5", 6'6"? Like, he can't be a small dude. Like, I'm not saying that because, like, how do I open the store? Dude, how the fuck? Let's just get my hands out again. I don't think death can save this. Let's get the rifle out. I got my hands out. Okay. Alright, I escaped. Bye, dude. Guys, we're gonna call it quits there at 10:19. 2:19. 2:10:19. Holy shit.
Purity. I would defend purity against the winds, the tides, against ice and blizzard.
No, I'm slower.
Could it be that all this was but a story of justice and vengeance?
So,
The soulful
it was
doctor
2:10:08. I got
avenging
credits,
his unjust
roughly.
death by avenging this young woman as
So-
though she was his lover.
I lost 2
Are
minutes
these
in
passionate
total.
feelings not precisely the kind of feelings
I lost a
that
total of
causes
2
war,
minutes.
petrify people deep
I
inside,
could have saved,
create
or I
monsters?
could have had a 10-minute PB on this. Parable, please make a new game. Come on, come on, new game. Let's go. Pre-order that shit in a fucking heartbeat, guys. We're gonna call it 2:10:19. Worst run of my life. I need to get better at this shit.